I think Chan can also testify, is that those actual lessons learned allow us to navigate the world in a different way. So we can be a little bit calmer. We can look at things from a broader perspective, and not necessarily be moved by the nuances and all the little dips within society as a whole. My hair is growing back, so I'm happy about that.
So talking about being a bit calmer, that makes, I mean, total sense, because you, as you said, you've got all these things flying at you. So, Tata, how did you manage the group work and the group dynamics?
Yeah, so group dynamics is tricky. And I think you go through those phases, forming, norming, storming. And the reality is that when you are in a group dynamics, you are going to clash. You are going to find hard times. But once you guys are in sync, you actually start knowing each other's weaknesses and start performing at a level that makes life easier. So my whole post-grad and MBA studies, I thrived in a group environment, because we looked at group work and we said, even when we are breaking down subjects, what content is going to come out? How is the question going to be asked? Okay, you to tackle 3 chapters and come up with 10 questions. Let's interrogate the coursework. Let us be strategic in our questions in the classroom. So when we have an opportunity to ask questions, let us see how our thinking is translating into something that is meaningful for the teacher, but more importantly for yourself. So that's how I managed it, and the group that I had in the postgrad helped me within the MBA as well, and I kept it as a family. So I think we're more than just a group right now. We are a family, and I think it's the people that I can say I've went to war with, and also had some really tough times with, and for that I can always call on them for anything.
Yeah, so that bond is there. And Sean, how did you manage that? Because you had groups, I mean, doing a distance learning, from Namibia, KZN, all over.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it does bring a little bit more frustration to the table. I mean, just with people in Zim who have power outages every 2 minutes. So it created a lot of challenges for us. But I must say, I almost feel like it prepared me for this whole COVID scenario. Long distance discussions is not an issue for me because I've done it for 2 years. Was there some times where I felt, just leave it, I will do it myself, definitely. But I think it's almost part of the journey. Now looking back, I want to laugh at the way that I reacted to some of the stuff. But I now approach those type of challenges with my teams a lot differently. So you almost learn soft skills along the way that you don't realize. And when you get to the end of it, the academics of it is great, and it gives you insight and it gives you knowledge and background. But the little things that you learn is almost more important for me. The fact that you can, I know that Tata said you don't have a lot of sleep and his hair is growing back, but it's true. You almost learn to survive on 2 or 3 hours sleep. And as long as you keep your body kind of in tune and make sure that your body gets everything it needs, it functions. It's tough some days, but it does function.
Exactly right. So last thing, you both did the Business in Emerging Markets module. You don't have to tell us all the secrets about what you did overseas and the fun that you had there, but give us just an overview of what it was like, what value you gained from it, just a snapshot of that module.
Of course, if I can go first, Tata, I hope you don't mind. I think from my perspective, if you really want to get the full value out of an MBA, these type of trips is very important. I think it almost closes down 2 years of hard study as well, because whilst we've learned a lot and there's a lot of stuff that we got to experience that I think you wouldn't experience if you just simply visit a country like Brazil. It also gave us a bit of time just to interact. I mean, the BIMA course was the first time that I actually met Tatu. Even though he's done his whole MBA with me, I've never met him because he was in contact learning and I was in distance learning. So for me, it was a very different experience to all of my other courses, because now I had to sit in class. It was very, very different. But I think it was an amazing experience. It was also quite difficult. I think just my frustration around, the fact that I can't even buy a SIM card because nobody understands me. They don't understand English. But it makes doing business in other countries, a little bit more apparent. And then you understand why everybody is just not simply grabbing these emerging market countries and growing in them. It's not that simple.
Yeah, great. Tatu?
Yeah, so I think on my end, it was a huge eye-opener. The first thing that you land up in a place where English is no longer the way of communicating. So you really have to start looking at other ways of communicating and figuring out how do other people say hello, how do they interact, and how do you get your message across. And I think just to add on to Shan's point, it's the way people do business is very different in Brazil, but more importantly, they are still as successful as we are, considering they're part of BRICS. So you look at their successes, you look at our successes, and how we've navigated some of the historical differences and history that the countries have faced. And it's just refreshing to know that there is different ways of approaching certain scenarios. And I think when we did go to Brazil, I managed to get a SIM card. But you look at certain things whereby you see commonalities, like catching an Uber is the same. However, your data costs in Brazil are exorbitantly high. So you literally put your SIM card in, you load the data in Portuguese, and then it's all finished. So now you have to go through this whole cycle of trying to figure out how to get data. But I think in all honesty, if you are to look at doing the MBA course, there is going the normal way and doing the course route, and then there is looking at this to say, look, I've literally done 90% of my work. My dissertation is almost done. This is the topping of it all, and it actually broadens your horizons in a way that makes you want to become a person of international business, and you want to see how other countries operate in a way that allows you to become more of a person and just operate more in an efficient and effective way. So there's a lot of growth. There was a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. Coming back from your lectures, trying to make notes, trying to review some of your coursework, and then as well as you still have to wake up very early and be on the next shuttle to another city or a little town or a business, whereby you also need to be on top of your game. So it's a lot of engagement, it's a lot of learning, it's a lot of fun, and you are constantly within a team. So it's a prime subject to thrive in.
Yeah, great one. My subject space, it's fabulous. Thank you, Sean and Tata. We really do appreciate your insights, and it's always interesting to come back to you and hear what you have to say about, how it was for you and how it is. I mean, now you must have so much time, you don't know what to do with yourself. So, there's always a doctorate that you guys can move on to, but no pressure, Sean. But thank you so much. We really appreciate that, and we'll be in touch. And I'm going to hand over to Kobus again.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much. Sean, Tatu, it was awesome listening to you. Every time, I listen to our valued alumni, and just also, like on LinkedIn specifically, frequently seeing what's happening in their careers and what they are doing, then it reminds me why it is that I do what I do, and that is the fulfillment. So, and Tadu, I mean, you and I also journeyed with your dissertation together, which was also a fantastic experience for me as well. So thank you so much for sharing. Storytelling is powerful, and I think you've given our visitors as well insights into your own experiences with Milpark being your your partner in that particular phase of your growth and development. So, colleagues, we are nearing the end, and I'm going to close off. I just want to leave you with a few takeaways. As you now consider, think, this way, that way, or the other. Perhaps just a reminder of our being an AMBER accredited business school. And we were actually the very first private business school, truly South African private business school in South Africa that got AMBER accreditation. Very proud of that. And remember the online ones as well, the only one in Africa at the moment. Then, of course, our 2020 ranking, second overall of all providers of MBAs and MBLs in South Africa. We argue that our curricula and syllabi are contemporary and relevant. It talks to the matters of this day and time that we find ourselves in. And of course, it's frequently or regularly rather reviewed to ensure that it talks to the context that we find ourselves in the specific space and time. Our facilitators come from industry. Like David also alluded to earlier on. That first-hand experience from the trenches is also brought into the classroom and further enriched by individual students who also come with their individual experiences from their different sectors or industries, wherever. And we believe that our learning environment that we create really promotes growth-producing experiences for our students, and that it impacts, that's what we endeavor, all three of the modes of learning, the head, the heart, and the hands. The Romans taught their children that nothing could be learned while sitting down. So it's the moment you immerse yourself in the activities of whether it's simulations or in projects that is as close to the real thing as possible is where the growth takes place. And as far as my team and I are concerned, the students, our students, are the focus in this teaching and learning transaction. And we are acutely aware of the fact that we are here because of our students and not the other way around. So friends, it was really a pleasure meeting up with you all in this virtual auditorium of ours. We wish everyone the best, and if there's any further questions you might have, please don't hesitate to connect with us. And we so look forward if you should decide to make us your partner in this next phase of your life journey. Be safe, stay healthy, and until we meet again, remember, tomorrow is beautiful. Thank you very much.